involved in the paranormal for a while.
Yeah.
It looks like we have that similarity where we both had mothers that had abilities and have abilities. And tell me about your first experience with it.
I'll say, like, my first experience where I actually was intrigued by paranormal actually happened with a group of folks that my mom put together up in Kane, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And they rented out a big manor there, which we actually just stayed at for her memorial month. And just a lot of things that happened, like a mag light turning on and off. I was very intrigued by that, like how. It wasn't until we were in a front parlor and we were all on one side of the room and nobody on the other, where there was a baby grand piano and this piano was playing itself.
Nice.
So I was like, yep, that's not, you can't explain that away. Right. You know, I think that was like the one time that then it was sucked me in. I was then hooked. I was more focused on the debunking part, trying to prove everything falsely, until I got to the point that I just couldn't. And then I've always had like empathic abilities. Like I've always sensed things. I think you kind of explained that. And then once you open yourself up to that, more things start coming. And then I would start seeing things, hearing things, trying different methods of experimenting with, investigating. So I would say, that was my first, sucked me in, and started really hanging out with Mom a lot more, doing paranormal stuff.
Now, you were about 15, 16?
That incident that really pulled me into paranormal, I was probably in my mid-20s. Okay. But my mom had abilities her whole life.
Oh, right. So it wasn't nothing.
I was always like, if she was reading somebody, I was there, and I was like, stuff like that. Or we'd stop at random cemeteries. That was cool because I liked the history side of things, or trying to, clean graves off, show respect that way. I've always been into that kind of stuff. But those were the types of things I did when I was younger with her. But the first time I actually saw her read somebody, I was almost 16 years old.
Okay. All right. Looking back, if you could tell yourself 20 years ago, you're going to own a haunted house, would you believe it?
Absolutely not. No. I think, 20 years ago, I was focusing on being a new mom and, just trying to life. And, it was something that my mom had always been a part of. Did I ever think I was going to be a part of it? No.
Okay.
No, absolutely not.
Now, take me to the first time you stepped foot into this house.
Oh, boy.
What, were you and your wife together? Was it just you? Was it just her?
We were together. Okay. So we were actively searching for a haunted location to purchase in honor of my mom. We were coming up on about almost a year since she had passed. Because, we weren't willing to settle for just anything. We wanted it to actually be what she had always dreamed of having. Right. So out of the blue, Danielle's aunt had called her and said, "Hey, I'm finally flustering up the energy to, get things moving over at Pap's house." And I didn't know who Pap was, And do you want his mantle? She had said to Danielle, and Danielle's absolutely, I do. Yeah. And so we met up a day and a time, and we started heading out for that. Well, I'm not originally from this area. Prior to meeting Danielle, I was way north of here. So we start driving, and on the drive here, I was just not feeling great, and she had to pull over for me to be sick, and I was like, man, what did I eat? And it didn't dawn on me until we stopped on the road in front of this place. And I hadn't looked to my right away, but I was just like, are you feeling good? And she's like, yeah, I'm fine. So then I looked over and I looked at this place and I was like, I immediately knew why I wasn't feeling well. So because at this point, we had already taken Mom's team over and had been starting to investigate and learning on our own. So places affecting me in that way, it made it click. So I looked at her, I said, Danielle, she's like, yeah, I don't know if she thought I know she didn't think what I was thinking, but I felt like she was probably feeling maybe embarrassed. I said, you have been looking for a haunted location for Mom for almost a year, and you didn't think of this place? And she was like, no, honestly, I never did. So needless to say, we came in, and this is actually Danielle's grandparents' house. They were the last owners. Okay.
Oh, cool.
So we came in, we met her aunt, we told her aunt, and this house had been sitting vacant for 3 years. The last of the siblings of Doss and Marge had been placed into a home. She could no longer, take care of herself or what have you. The place was completely hoarded out. Like you could barely get through every room. It's kind of like it just became one big storage building. Yeah. But there was still it was like literally somebody was a hoarder and lived in here with all of the things and then just left one day. Yeah. So we came in, we made arrangements with her. Obviously we didn't take the mantle. We made arrangements because Danielle was like, you're right, I don't know why I thought. Yeah. Then she became very excited and we're buying it. And I was like, well, we need to actually make sure that there's actual paranormal activity here first. And she's like, okay, you're right. So we made arrangements with her aunt to meet us back again and let us in with a couple of our team members, my daughter, my good friend Beth, her husband Brent, who is a complete paranormal non-believer. So we brought him along for him to debunk everything. So we were setting up that night and, there was there was another couch here. There was a little love seat here. This table was actually bumped up against this one, but we were like surrounded by things. Okay. So we were just like making a little path. And after we spent about 20 minutes getting windows open just to get air in here because it smelled horribly. And as we were setting up the equipment, I was sitting here. Danielle was to my right. My daughter was to the right of her. My friend Beth was over here. Brent was just sitting on the edge of this couch that was over here. And I was Beth was flipping up a garbage bag to like cover so she could sit down on something somewhat clean. And in that moment, it literally sounded like a shotgun went off under our feet. I actually saw Danielle out of my peripheral raise up. Yeah. And we all froze. It was the what's that? Yeah. Everybody heard this. Yeah. So Brent's immediate reaction, because he was closest to the door, was because when we got here, you couldn't even get down those basement steps. They were hoarded. But we knew there was a basement door. So his original thought was somebody squatting in the basement. Yeah. So him and Danielle took off around back. Basement door was still closed. They went inside, had to climb up over a mountain of stuff, grabbing a tire iron on his way because he didn't know what he was going to find in this back basement. And then this is where it gets weird. He makes it up over to go into that space. There is not a single thing in that room. Not a cardboard box, not an old sock or a shoe, nothing in that room. So odd. Entire house hoarded out, but not the back basement. So then they made it in there, turned the light on. He checked every beam, every board, every post. Because then he was like, because he couldn't explain it. So he was trying to give him himself a reason to explain it. And he's like, well, maybe it was just, the house has been empty for a while. It's settling. Maybe the house is settling. And Danielle looks at him and she's like, B, if the house was settling, I would have sunk, not rose up. Right. And he's like, yeah, true. So that was actually his aha moment. Because then he started coming around a lot more. So literally when we got this place, we decided to buy it because it started with a bang. That's literally the truth. The following days after that, after we had decided, okay, we're gonna buy it. This is gonna be the place we open for Mom. We were in here cleaning. And again, that other dining room, huge bang from the basement. Then once, because we got this going quickly. Like we kept as much as we could that wasn't ruined. Right. That's where all the dolls came into play. And we were here just getting some footage. And Danielle usually isn't fazed by anything. And I said, all right, I'm going to get some B-roll from across the road. Just slowly open the door up and I'll, get my shot of it coming in. So she was in here, lights off, door shut. All of a sudden, the door flies open and she comes hauling across the road. Never have I ever seen her get spooked out of anywhere. And she's like, did you hear that? I'm like, no, I'm across the road. What's going on? And she said, something growled at me.
Oh.
And I was like, wait, what? I'm like, no. She's nothing spooked. When I say nothing, it takes a lot to spook her.
Yeah.
Nothing does. And she's like, I'm like, it's okay. We can do this another time if you want to. Like, we'll come back when we have more people, so you're not in the house alone, right? Yeah. She's like, no, I got this. I'm gonna do this. And I'm like, are you sure? So we get it all lined up again. And I'm like, okay. So I started recording first because I'm like, I'll just cut it off. So that if she can't stay in there too long, no big deal. So I was like, okay. And I was like, well, wait, there's a car coming. So we had to wait for a car to pass. Yeah. And I was like, okay. She shuts the light off. Boom, door flies open. She comes running across again. And as she was about midway through across the road, that's when we heard another big bang. Okay. So she explained it as in, so she's crouching behind the door, lights are off. Yeah. She said she could feel an energy behind her. She's like, but I was trying to like just mentally, so you are not allowed to approach me. You are not. She's like, but it didn't work. No. She's like, it rushed me. Mm-hmm. She said, and then it growled at me, which shot me out the door. And then that big bang hit again. So that's how it all started here for us. Yeah.
So once you guys got the house to where we're at right now, with like, all the hoarding stuff cleaned out, I'm sure that took
we had this house completely emptied in about 4 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had a big supportive group of people that came and helped, and some of Mom's friends. Yeah, and that's cool. When you're doing things, for the positive, people come together for that.
So when you got everything to like where we're at now, did you guys notice like that not so pleasant vibe kind of diluted, or do you still feel like it's here, but maybe it's a little shackled or something?
I think it there's definitely a certain energy that is like shackled to the basement. Okay.
That's what I was,
But there's other parts of that lower vibrational energy that I feel like has just kind of like scattered like BBs. Yeah. And then you have tons of high vibrational energies. So, but the energies are always changing. Yeah. Always. There's definitely an energy here that takes over everything.
Dominant.
Yes.
Yeah.
It will shut everything down. Yeah. And then things will start to creep back up.
Start and then stairway.
Oh yeah, last night
we came down with the
We came down because the light was off, and the light just turned on by itself.
And it's like going brighter. He said, did that get right? I said, dude, that was off. Yeah. I said, remember I had you hold that arm so I didn't bust my butt?
Yeah, that happened to one of the very first groups that were in here. They were actually two females were standing at the bottom of the steps looking up the staircase because they had heard what they thought was a growl. And in that moment, the stairway light turned on them. Yeah. And the girls took off running. And they were screaming, obviously, as something on the other side of the dining room did something. I don't know what. Yeah. But they asked me to pull the footage of that, excuse me, which I was happy to do. Yeah. Well, because of all the chaos and pandemonium, they didn't realize that the REM pod upstairs in the middle of the bed was blaring the whole time that all of this was happening. So it was kind of like a little kid was like sitting on the bed, jumped down, went and hit the light on and ran back. And so that
it's like normally on, Then all of a sudden it's like a floodlight come on.
Huh.
I mean, it was bright.
Right.
Yeah, real bright.
So have you guys been ever just like checking out the cameras and seeing something
at home?
When nobody is in here, like we get notifications for sound.
That's what, like you guys get like
a person has been detected. We get a person has been detected at the front door all the time, and there is nobody there. Even like when it starts to record because it detects a person, nothing.
Well, that's where I was going to lead into because I brought it's kind of like it's a CCTV, but it's one of the smaller ones, and I set it over here on the table.
Yeah.
And as we were going to the church, I got probably 10
not more.
Notifications that a motion was detected.
Yeah. Motion is common because, like, as you just saw, like people running by during the daytime, it casts a shadow.
This way.
A lot of times there's headlights coming in from across the road. So those ones, like, I always watch them all. Most of the time it's something stupid or a loud muffler. Yeah. It's the human detected.
Right, there you go.
That throws me.
Yeah.
And you watch the footage and there's absolutely nothing. Or, sorry, my throat's getting scratchy. When it picks up a sound or a motion or a human detected and you're playing it back and you hear people talking.
Right.
And like literally right into the camera. Or one time I pulled up the footage in the kitchen and it sounded like somebody talking and then a huge, like a lion's roar into this camera. So stuff like that happens all the time. When we have guests in here, we don't look in ever unless there's a cause of safety concern, because when we do that, it interrupts the feed. Right. So you could be experiencing something incredible, and because I'm being nosy, we now don't have that footage for you in case you want it. So we want this place to be as authentic as it possibly can, and everybody to experience it for themselves in their own way. Right. Like I said, like some people, it's crazy. Some people it's not. Some people have more intimate experience. Some people have terrifying experiences. So we just, like I said, it's making it be authentic to its true self is truly what we want.
So what is the goal for the next 5 years of the Doss House?
Just keeping her standing, honestly. Restoring some things, just keeping it as original as we possibly can. We know there are some things that are going to have to be replaced. We know that as much as we don't want to, because we like the way the house is creepy on the outside, we're going to have to paint it this year because of insurance purposes and stuff. So those kind of things make us sad, but we don't intend on doing a whole lot.
Not to interrupt, you painting it will stir them up probably even more.
It might.
Because you changed.
Yeah, and it absolutely might. Yeah. It might. But yeah, like just, keeping it going and trying to keep people coming and experiencing these things and bringing people together, and finding out what else is going to come through. What, because this place, it is like a revolving door for spirits. Yeah. It definitely is.
And you opened the doors at what, 24 or 25?
24.
24?
Okay. A Halloween of 24.
Very new to the field. So
and I'll tell you, man,
just getting started.
Very blessed in that manner because it has been intense. There has been a lot of people through here, which is exciting. That's what it's meant to do. I never expected it to go this well.
And your mom's shining down on
100%. Like, and I think that the intent of anything anybody ever does. This has become my grieving process. Right. And doing something that my mother loved so much, and now me actually enjoying it so much, helps me feel closer to her. So it helps in all of those avenues. And seeing people have a good time, and some will, some won't, and that's fine. But this was a dream of hers that has now, in essence, become a dream of ours, and cool. We're hoping to just continue that.
And you can tell you guys are, well, I mean, I haven't met your wife, but just you can tell you're authentic about it. Like, you can tell.
I have nothing to gain or lose. Like, we knew, like, doing this, it might do good, it might not. And if not, we had, like I said, we had taken over her paranormal team. So if anything, this was a place for us to learn and grow and investigate and expand our, knowledge of things. So we knew, like, and it's evident, like, we are not in this to make money. As long as we can, keep the lights on and keep her standing and keep people warm in the wintertime and everybody can have fun doing that, that's all that matters.
That's awesome.
Cool. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's all I got.
Okay.
Yeah. All right,
cool.
So, Doss House website?
Yes, www.thedosshouse-pa.com, and then we're on every social media platform.
Okay.
YouTube, TikTok, It's also Unique Paranormal 1.5. That's when we are here investigating, or we go somewhere investigating in honor of Mom. That's the platform that we're using for that as well. So, yeah.
Well, we are excited to get night 2 rolling here pretty soon. So, thank you very, very much.
You bet.
All right.